So what is up, you beautiful buggers? Welcome back to the channel and a new video on the mighty Suzuki GSX 1400. Today we're going to be talking brake calipers. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. So welcome to a most beautiful day here in Cornwall. It's actually October the 10th or 11th, I think, and we're in a kind of mini weekend heat wave, as it were. 25 degrees, beautiful sunshine, October, 10 weeks to Christmas. Bloody bizarre. Global warming, I told you before, is coming for you. Anyway, we've just washed the bike. I'm going to pop out for a ride. Before we do that, I'm going to talk you quickly through what we have planned for these brake calipers over here. As you can see, the wheels have been refurbished, but as is often the case with these Tokiko calipers, they are looking a bit tired, it has to be said. They've got stainless steel braided lines on, which look lovely. The wheels look lovely. They've even put in stainless steel bolts to hold the calipers on to the fork leg and disc. But two things. One, they've still got the original bolts here, which look a bit moody, so they need cleaning up. And two, the calipers, as I said, look a little bit tired and worn. They were refurbished about 5,000 miles ago, according to the service pack. And you can see here the brake pad retaining clip, as it were, there is actually looking quite new, but the pads look a bit worn, and we're getting some kind of odd clicking sound under rotation with the front wheel. That could be the discs, it could be the pads, it could be a stuck piston. So what I've decided to do is have them refurbished, but not the same way as I did it last time. If you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know we've refurbished the calipers on the previous GSX ourselves. We cleaned up all the pistons, put new seals in, and resprayed them Hammerite gold, and they came out really, really well, actually. If you're interested in seeing that, check out the Instagram link in the description. The photographs are on there. But this time we are going to use this company right here, and we're going to send them away because they are going to fully refurbish these calipers, and they're going to repaint them, and then they're going to send them back to us, and they will film the whole process for us as well. So I'll include that in this video. It just seems like an easier option, if I'm honest. I'll know it's been done absolutely perfectly. They'll come back looking as good as they did when it left the factory, and they'll be working perfectly as well. So, you know, there's no dramas there. I've seen these advertised on eBay and all these other kind of places, these refurb companies that do this job, and I wanted to check it out as well. You know, it's not overly expensive. It's a couple of £100. Link is obviously in the description. So what we're going to do is we're going to whip them off, the two front ones and the rear, of course, and we'll box them up and we will send them away, and then I'll cut in a few seconds time with a video of them, which they're going to send me, of their refurb process. Then when we get them back, we'll pop them back on, bleed the system, and I'll give you an overview of what I think. Should you do it? Is it value for money? Could you do it yourself better? Etc, etc. So the first thing we're going to have to do is get the calipers off. What I would advise you to do first of all is undo these four bolts here and the banjo bolt before you take the caliper off the fork leg, because trying to take these bolts off or loosen these bolts off when you've got the caliper just in your hand is bloody difficult if someone's torqued them up too highly. So we're going to loosen off these four bolts here. That'll split the caliper, of course. The banjo bolt we'll need to take off to get the caliper off, and then we'll take it off the fork leg, and then we'll whip off that little plate there, the anti-rattle plate, as it were, take out the pads, and we will box them up and send them away. And then we'll cut in a couple of seconds. As I said, we will basically use the video that the guys sent us to show exactly what they do, and then hopefully in a couple of weeks time, couple of seconds for you, we will get these back and I will fit them back onto the bike, and I'll give you my opinion on whether you should do it. As I said, is it value for money, the kind of quality of their work, as it were. Anyway, let's get these calipers off and we will go from there. Okay guys, so as I said, what we're going to do is we are going to ever so slightly take the pressure off these little bolts here. You don't actually have to do this if you're sending these away to this company to have them refurbished, because obviously they're going to do all this for you when they get there, because they've got to split these calipers anyway, so they'll actually do all this for you. I'm just doing it because I'm here and I wanted to show you how simple it is, and just to be nice to the people that are going to do this to my bike, because it makes their job just that little bit easier. And it only takes me a second, doesn't it? So why not? Right, so they're all ever so slightly loosened off. What we need to do now is get your 14mm and loosen off the banjo bolt. Now that's got a little kink in it there, so we're going to have to use the open end. That's a 14mm, by the way. Now we are going to get a little bit of brake fluid coming through here, I imagine. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of tissue underneath here, because I really don't want that to go onto the new powder coated wheels. So we'll just loosen this off, because obviously we've got to take the banjo bolt off the caliper to get it off the bike. If I can actually get it on there. Right, okay, bear with me guys, I'm trying to find the perfect, actually it's going to be easier if I get a socket on there, I think, guys. Bear with me a sec. Okay, as I said, I decided to go and get a socket. It's going to make things a lot easier, isn't it? Well, just literally, that was so loose, it's unbelievable. And I took the bloody tissue off. Anyway, we'll quickly get this off, because obviously this will be the only thing keeping it on to the bike in a second. We're going to have to whip this bolt out and try to lift it up as quick as possible so it stops losing fluid. There we go. It's going to lose fluid for a little while, obviously, because there's pressure in the system, so we'll just leave that to do its thing for a second. I'll just shove it right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just up the top there by the forks. Right, so we've loosened off this one, this one, this one, this one. We've removed the banjo bolt. What we'll do next is basically loosen off these 13 mils here to get it off the carrier. Doing all this stuff, as in these 4 bolts and the banjo bolt, while the caliper's on the bike, makes your life a lot easier. See, we're still getting a little bit of drippage coming through from the banjo bolt here, but that's not a huge drama. Okay, so we should be pretty much good to go to get this caliper off the bike now. We'll just literally undo these 2 13mm bolts, which I'm either going to replace with stainless steel, or I'm just going to clean them up. I haven't decided yet. This should, in theory, then literally just fall away from the bike. In theory, because as we know, if you watch my channel, my theory doesn't always work out the way it's supposed to. So the one thing I decided I didn't want to do, and that is to drip brake fluid all over my brand new wheels. I've actually managed to do that pretty well. So yeah, just clean it off. I mean, it's not going to do a huge amount of harm. I've actually just noticed I've just taken a nice big chunk out of my new wheel as well. So that's bloody annoying. We do seem to be losing quite a lot of fluid up here as well. There is quite a lot of pressure in the system. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that. We will deal with that in a minute. Anyway, I don't know if you can see that, but as I dropped the caliper there, in my haste to get it off, I managed to chip the brand new wheel. So that is the first disaster. As I said, these things never go quite the way you expect them to. So, nice big chip. What a shame. Anyway, we'll do the other side. I'll get them off, and then I will show you me boxing them up ever so quickly as we send them away to this company to get them looking like new. But as you can see, they're looking very, very moody, full of all sorts of nastiness. That will be addressed. Let's get the other one off. All right, so all the calipers are off. There is the rear. As you can see, the pads there don't look too clever. The actual piston itself looks quite rusty, so that doesn't look like it's been doing a huge amount of good. Plus one side's out further than the other. It's a good job we're going to get these done, I think, definitely. I'm going to quickly whip these shields off here, and we'll have a little look at the front ones as well. Not forgetting, of course, to make sure that you get all the little copper washers. You can replace them, of course. They may even give me a new copper washer to put back in here with the bolt. I have no idea. They might give me some new bleed nipples. I've no idea. We will find out, of course. But let me just get these little brake pad anti-rattle plates off here. We'll have a little look at these pads, see what's going on. Okay, well, they don't look too bad. There's obviously a fair amount of meat missing, as it were, off the pad, so it's a good job we're going to replace those. They are rattling about a little bit. The pistons, they look dirty, basically. I mean, they were supposed to have been done, as I said, 5,000 miles ago. Yeah, okay. Well, I think it's a very good job we're going to do this anyway, because as you can see, everything's looking a bit dirty and grubby and horrible, especially the rear one. So we are going to obviously take this cover off here, remove the pads. We'll have to just take this little pin out of here. I'm going to get a new pin as well, just for good measure, and then we'll box them up and get them sent away. So stand by. For you, it's going to be a couple of seconds. For me, it's probably going to be at least a month before we get these back. So keep watching, and we will see how they do this and what they're like when they come back. Just ever so quickly as well, guys, that is an overview of what they look like without the pads in. As we said, these are looking a bit rusty. I'm not sure these even moved, although the back brakes do feel fine, if I'm honest. And there are the pistons, obviously, for the front calipers. Again, looking a bit rough and ready around the edges. So I think it's a very, very good idea we get these refurbished. Quick heads up as well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not saying that's the way you should do it. I'm just saying this is the way I'm going to do it. Just get a bit of tissue paper inside the banjo bolt, because effectively there's a tiny little hole just on the other side of here that lets the brake fluid through. So just block that off as tightly as you can with some tissue paper, clip it out the way. Same with the rear one here as well. I've just pop that over there, and resist the temptation when you put your bike back where it's supposed to be, because I've got to put it over there, to pull the brake in, because obviously as soon as you do that, you're going to pump brake fluid through the system, i.e. through those banjo bolts, which you don't want to do. Anyway, that is it. We are going to box these up, as I said, get them sent out. I'll cut in a second with a video they're going to send us of how they actually get these refurbished, what they provide in their service for their, I think it's about 210 quid, something like that. And then we'll open them up when we get them back in 2 or 3 weeks time, I imagine, something like that. And I'll give you my opinion, as I said, and we'll bolt them back on the bike and see what they look like. All right then, so they are back from Powerhouse. The calipers off the GSX 1400 have been returned. It's been just over a week, I think, but I've not had a chance to actually open the box yet. I wanted to do that with you guys because I wanted you to see exactly how they come back, and basically we'll open up the box together. You've obviously seen the first part of this video, so sorry, I keep stabbing this knife everywhere. You've obviously seen the first part of this video, so you know what they were like. You saw me take them off. They were pretty damn grody, so I'm hoping to God that my theory about the best way to get your calipers refurbished is correct, and we're going to open this box up together and find out exactly what Powerhouse do, and then I'm going to show you how they achieved the look that we're going to take a look at now. So let's get this box open. Okay, so that's the box open. I think we better get to the exciting part here. Let's whip out this little bit of bubble wrap here. We'll just grab a random caliper. Bear with me, I'm going to try to do this one-handed, and we'll move that box out of the way. And we'll open these up together right now. I'm hoping it won't take too long to unwrap all this, because I don't want you guys getting bored, of course. And we'll take a look at what you can expect if you do exactly what I've done and send your calipers off to Powerhouse. Wow, look at that. Isn't that just something else? Look at those pistons. They're pretty much brand new. I mean, have they put brand new pistons in, or have they just cleaned those up? I guess we'll find out in a minute, but look at that. Isn't that just stunning? Refer back to the first part of this video when we took these calipers off, because these are the same calipers, and you'll see what a transformation that is as well. Obviously, these are our stainless steel bolts. We've got new stainless steel bolts that will clamp these onto the fork legs, obviously. They've given us some new screws here as well, which actually hold down the retaining strap for the brake pads as well. So that's nice to see. And a brand new bleed nipple. Fantastic. So not only do we get the copper washers, brand new, we get a brand new bleed nipple as well. That is good. These are going to look so stunning on that bike with those gold wheels now. That's just going to set everything off beautifully. It's just going to look immaculate. Anyway, what we're going to do now, they've sent me out a video on the process that they use to get these calipers looking like this and how they refurbish the pistons, the seals, all that kind of good stuff. So what we'll do, we'll pop that video in here now for you guys so you can see exactly what you can expect, what Powerhouse do, and then we will come back and I will tell you what the next step is for us.
Hello, my name's Dave and I'm part of the team at Powerhouse. At Powerhouse we refurbish thousands of motorbike brake calipers each year in our specialist workshop, and we wanted to take the opportunity to show you at home how to refurbish a set of motorbike brakes. The calipers we'll be demonstrating on are off the GSXR 1400. We're going to show you how to strip them down, clean them out and rebuild them with the fresh seals. Now before you begin at home, you'll want to make sure you've got all the parts that you need. We recommend these Brake Masters caliper seal kits. The Brake Masters kits come with all the components that you need to rebuild your brakes. These are what we use in our own workshop, and you can get them on our online store. So let's go and begin stripping down these calipers.
So today we're going to be stripping down these brake calipers. Before you take the brake calipers off the bike, there's a few things that you should do first. The first thing, you should split the joint bolts best that you can. Now to do this, just crack them just whilst they're in situ and then just tighten them back up. It will help you to get them out when they're on the bench. Before actually removing your caliper off the bike, take the pads out. And this will mean that you can see all 6 pistons. At this stage, it is worth lining your brake disc with a bit of cardboard. Now, I'm not doing that here because I'm just using a bit of scrap metal to show you what this will look like whilst it's on the bike. But what we're going to do is we're going to pump the pistons out as far as we can. So we want them out touching the disc. It's worth doing this whilst it's on the bike. You'll get a lot more pressure from your brake lever than you'd ever get from sort of a compressor or airline. So definitely do this whilst it is still on the bike. So we actually have a high pressure line, which is how I've blown all these out. They're all now touching the disc. Okay, so we're just on our next brake caliper. It is just worth mentioning at this point, if you're struggling to blow the pistons out with your master cylinder, we do actually offer a rebuild service at Powerhouse where you can send your brake calipers to us and we'll do all the work for you. But if you're struggling to get the pistons out as far as this, you're going to struggle to get them out when they're on the bench. All 6 pistons are out. Before removing your brake calipers from the bike, don't forget to undo your joint bolts, which are these 4 on this particular caliper. We've also got your banjo bolt that you'll have to remove with your brake line attached to it. If you do get brake fluid anywhere, just wash it off straight away with soapy water. But once you've got as far as that, it's time to bring your brake calipers to the vise. Now, before putting them in, we always recommend using a set of soft jaws in there. And we also put a bit of rag in there as well, just to keep a bit of extra padding to save actually putting any marks on the calipers. At this point, you're going to be able to undo the joint bolts. Here we go. Our brake caliper is now split. To remove the seals, we use a variety of hook tools such as this. We have various shaped ones. With this, if you just get just under the seal, you'll be able to pull that out. You will notice that the seals are often swollen, they're often perished, you get a lot of crud stuck to them, okay? And we'll talk through the seal groove shortly, but these can be a real mess. There we go, these are coming out nice and easily. All the seals are out. We also have our joint seals to remove as well. What we're about to do is clean the seal grooves. Now this is not the only time that we'll do these, because getting the seal grooves clean is the most important part of the rebuild process. So we're going to use our hook tool again, right? And again, we have a variety of different ends, and we're going to scrape out all this corrosion that's formed in here. Okay, so give it quite a hard scrape. You can hear it goes squeaky when you actually get to the aluminium caliper casing. You'll struggle to damage it. We've been doing these for years and years. You never scratch the casing. So again, giving that a good scrape round. And see all that fur coming with it. So we're doing the dust seal. And then we're also going to do the pressure seal. Now the part which is hardest to get to on these is the part that's closest to us on the dust seal. Okay, that's the part, this top corner is the bit that receives and holds the most crud. So that's the part to really give attention to, the bit that you can't see. You can just see the amount of muck that I'm pulling out of there. Fantastic. Okay, we've now got the brake calipers, they're all stripped down, we've removed the seals from the seal grooves, we've given the seal grooves a good scrape out, and it's now time to clean the calipers. At home, you're probably going to have to do this in the kitchen sink using some fairy liquid. You can use some white spirit or some kerosene or diesel, whatever it is that you've got at home for using. Just remember to use your goggles and your gloves whilst you're doing it. We've got a parts washer, so we're going to put these in here. There we go. So, with our calipers nice and clean, I think we're going to give these a rinse, we're going to dry them off, and then we're going to clean the seal grooves. Okay, now that we've got the seal grooves scraped again, we're going to give these a Dremel to make sure they're really nice and clean. For that, I'm going to use a flat disc Dremel which has got a wire brush attachment onto it. And with this, we need to make sure to get into all corners and crevices in the caliper. And up and down the bore as well. Okay, now that we've finished that, we're going to use an end brush and we're going to do the actual flats of the seal grooves as well as the bottom of the caliper casing as well. There we go. Next job, we're going to give these a dry out with the airline. And we're then going to put them into our ultrasonic bath, which you guys might not be able to do at home. Not forgetting to do the pistons as well. Okay, so we'll just put the parts in here. Now that the casings are finished in the ultrasonic bath, we're going to do another optional step for you guys at home. We're going to media strip the casings. The media stripping keys the casings so that the paint will stick before it gets oven baked. Now that these casings have been media stripped, they're ready to go into the spray booth and we're going to paint these. Okay, so we've just got these brake calipers back from recoating. We've then milled the lettering. I've given all the seal grooves a final clean out so that they're ready for assembly now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all the seals in. We're using BrakeMaster seal kit. In the BrakeMaster seal kits you get the pressure and the dust seals, you get the bleed screws, the dust caps, the copper washers, the joint seals, correct caliper assembly grease as well. You get a free sticker and you also get pistons. So we're going to start rebuilding these. To do that, we want a bit of grease on our finger and thumb, and we can run that round like this. Now to actually locate it in, what we're going to do is just with our finger, we can just pop that into the back of the seal groove and just push it all the way around. We can then do that to all of them. And then we're going to do the dust seals, which are the thinner seal. Exactly the same thing again, and putting it in, just locate it with your finger, and then you can just drop it into the rest of the groove. Cool, I'm just going to wipe off any excess grease. Before putting the pistons in, it's worth just running your finger around the bore just to make sure the seals are located properly. Sometimes they will roll when you're putting them in, and if there's a twist in the seal, then the piston won't fit in there properly. Fit the pistons, I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on and just run that around with my finger. It only needs to be a very light smear, and I'm just going to drop that in past the dust seal. So that's all 12 before we actually put them in past the pressure seal. To get the piston past the dust seal, it's worth doing a rocking motion with both thumbs, and you'll just be able to rock it past. If it's not going, just try it in the opposite direction. If you get into the point that the piston isn't going in, it's because the seal groove isn't clear enough. And there's absolutely no circumstance on a motorbike where you should have to use a G-clamp to get the pistons in. If you're using a G-clamp, you need to take the piston out and clean the seal groove properly. So when we're putting the caliper halves together, we need to remember to put the joint seal in. Okay, it's just here. And here. On the joint bolts, we recommend just putting a smear of Loctite on there, just to stop any vibration from getting them to come loose. When putting the caliper halves together, the smaller pistons go opposite each other, and the joint seal goes opposite the gallery on this side as well. Before screwing this down, it is just worth opening the caliper up and just checking that the joint seal's still in the correct position. Clamp it together. Same on the other caliper. Again, we'll just check that it's still located before we clamp it down. We're also going to torque the joint bolts. An M8 joint bolt is normally torqued at 26 Newton meters. That's often the factory recommendation. Just checking your owner's manual that yours is 26. With the bleed screws, we recommend putting a little bit of Hylamar semi-setting joint sealant around there. That just stops the air from getting sucked in when you're bleeding them. When you're doing the bleed screws up, the factories often recommend a torque setting of around 7 or 8 Newton meters, which is way too high for a little hollow screw. So what I'd suggest is that you just do them up, nip them up. We always undo them just half a turn and then do them back up again. It just helps with them locating at the bottom of the taper. We've also got little cover screws which will go on. Obviously if you're doing this at home, you'll have a dust cover and the pads to put back in here as well. So there we go. They're all rebuilt and ready to send out. Before we send them out, we will get them pressure tested just to make sure there's no leaking or anything like that, and just to make sure that they're safe.
So there we have it. Thanks for watching our video. If you need any parts for your caliper rebuild, or if you'd like us to rebuild your brake calipers for you, then please visit our website powerhouse.uk for more information.
So, I'm hoping you found that of some interest, guys. That is Powerhouse and their process for refurbishing these calipers once you've sent them off to them. I think you'd agree. Stunning. Really, really, really professional setup there. Yes, you can do them yourself. I'm not going to say you can't. I did it, but not to this level. This is literally next level. Look at that. That's like a brand new caliper, isn't it? And it's only just over 200 quid. You just send them off, you wait, You get them back, you pop them on your bike, bleed the system, off you go. A lot less hassle. Trust me, I've done this myself, and it took me 2 weeks fannying about and trying to get screws out that didn't want to come out, and cleaning the pistons and waiting for seals to arrive, and then I messed up a few times. I think this is the way forward. I don't think I'd ever try that again myself, not for the sake of a couple of £100. I mean, look at these. They're literally brand new, aren't they? Anyway, let's get these back onto the bike, and we'll see the contrast now with all the new bolts and these beautiful looking calipers against our beautifully refurbished gold wheels on the bike. And then I'll give you an overview of what I think. We'll go through the prices again, and we'll close out the video. So let's get out into the cold and fit these beautiful calipers again. So there they are, guys. The calipers are finally back and on to the bike. I haven't bled the system up. I haven't even actually connected it up just yet. I wanted to show you guys exactly how beautiful it looks and how well it's colour matched to the original kind of powder coating of these gold wheels on the GSX as well. I think it looks absolutely stunning. I do have to do a little bit of work here on these fork legs here, because I would like to basically get some 2000 grit wet and dry sandpaper on here and then polish these back. I may do that on the channel. If I do, then I'll stick a link in up here, or I'll just put it on the channel in the community section. You guys can see that. If you want to see how easy it is to get rid of these tiny little marks like this on these kind of fork legs here, it takes probably about half an hour each side, I would say, and it really does transform it. You don't necessarily need to take the front wheel off, although it is better. You can get away with just doing it on the insides there, but I'll show you in the video if I decide to do that, if there's any interest. But for the calipers from Powerhouse, that is it. You've seen the video on how it's done, you've seen the video how they were and how they are now, and I think you'd have to agree, for a couple of £100, why wouldn't you do it? Save yourself a lot of hassle and just make the front of your bike look amazing again. As I said, a couple of £100, why wouldn't you do it? Anyway, that is it for the Powerhouse refurb caliper video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, consider subscribing for more video content like this. Give the video a thumbs up, a like and a share. We'll catch up soon. All right, take care, guys. Thanks for watching.